Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Thank you for joining us once again. We first want to shout out all of our amazing subscribers. We're over 900 now. We're so close to getting those 1,000 subscribers. We love our subscribers, our viewers. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and interacting with us in our new home journey. Today is going to be all about inspections. So first, what do we mean when we say new home inspection? Especially for new construction, we want to make sure we fill you in on what exactly that is, right? You hear that thrown around a lot. So a new home inspection is when you as a buyer hire an inspector to come in and make sure everything with your home is as it should be, is the quality as you want it to be and as you need it to be. And so this is something that you pay out of pocket and you front that cost to have somebody come in that is working for you to go through all the nooks and crannies of your new home, make sure everything works, everything is of quality. And so you want to make sure that you're ready for that cost as you're thinking about how much do I need to save and prepare for buying a new home. Our inspections cost about $300 each for our pre-drywall and post-drywall. And those are the two inspections you typically will hear that most people will get. There are several others that you can get, but pre and post drywall is what we got. And even though ours were about $300 each, your cost may vary depending on your inspector, your location, all of those things. Something else we definitely want to talk about is why you need an inspector for a new construction. So sometimes you'll hear this myth thrown around that it's a new construction home. You don't need an inspector, everything's going to be perfect, it's all brand new. Yes, it's all brand new, but you still need your own inspector, right? Even though the city or county will come in and look and make sure everything's up to code, they're just making sure things are up to code, but they're not necessarily looking at the full quality of the build, right? So your private inspector will come in and look at, yes, this is here, but does it work as it needs to work? Is it the best that it could be? And that's what a private inspector will do for you. So definitely you need a private inspector. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't. That's something you really need to have, right? And so we're going to walk you through some of the things that our private inspector found during our pre-drywall and post-drywall inspections. Before we move forward with the video, we want to take a pause to share something very special with you guys. This is being recorded during Black History Month, and so we want to take the chance here to share with you one of our other special ventures, which is Roots Recorded. Something special that you can do after your pre-drywall inspection is to write special messages for you and your family on the frame of your house. And that's something we took advantage of, and we decided to write our ancestors' names on the wooden frame of our house in various locations around our house. The picture behind me in the middle is my great-great-grandmother. She's so special to me, and I'm so thankful to have that picture. It's the oldest one that I have on my side of my family. And so I cherish things that I could hold in my hand and see physically of my history and my heritage. And so both of us are so inspired by our ancestors. They inspired us to get to this point in our life of buying a home, and we're pretty much the first in our families to be able to do something like this. And so along with our new home journey, we wanted to create something that could help other people document their lineage, and so we created the Roots Recorded Ancestry Journal. And the journal here, it comes in black, and then I'll show you another color in a second. The journal is divided between your maternal ancestors and your paternal ancestors. And what you do is start with yourself, then you go to your mother's side all the way back as far as you can, up to 9 generations, and the same for your father's side. And we wanted to set it up that way to make sure that you have the chance to reflect on what your mother was like, what your father was like, and connect those generations in that way. There's a reflection and space for a family tree at the end, and so we wanted to create something that you could make handwritten and people can hold in their hand as the generations in your family move forward. This is the green here, and we have 3 other colors, and they're available on Amazon, and we'll link it below for you all. Thanks for hearing about Roots Recorded, and we appreciate your support.
Alright, so our inspector did, as Lisa said, a pre-drywall inspection as well as a post-drywall inspection. I'm going to walk you through every single thing that he found for us, and I'm going to show you the pictures of all the items that he found. And so when you do get one of these inspections, the inspector will likely provide you a written report that includes pictures and sometimes even videos of the things that are correct with your home, but also some of the things that need to be fixed within your home. So as I walk through this, you're going to get to see all the pictures of the things that he pointed out, which made it easier for us to understand the report, but it also made it easier for the superintendent and their team to come in and identify where the issues were so that they could complete them. And so one of the first things in our pre-drywall inspection that our inspector found was that on the roof there was some exposed wood, and it didn't have the sheeting covering all the wood. And so he was able to point that out. They were able to come in and correct it. Had he not found that, it could have been a case where mold could start to develop and we could have issues down the road. In addition to that, there's also some exterior wall penetrations where they put this weather sheeting along the outside of the wall to prevent water from penetrating into the wood. And there were some areas where the sheeting wasn't fully covering the wood, and he had to just encourage our build team to go in and fix some of those things. There was also, you could see on the inside, where there was wall sheeting that was lacking, and you could see holes from the inside that weren't covered up. And so he pointed those out so they could go in and fix that. There's also, again, that wrapping on the house on the outside. Apparently, some of those had been damaged because the build team had used staples on it, and you're not supposed to use staples. When you use staples, water can get inside of there, and again, it can cause issues. So he pointed that out for us. Also, there was some of that, again, house wrapping that was missing. In certain parts of the wood was exposed, even though it was covered by the roof. And so he pointed it out just in case. And then in the windows, when you are in a house that doesn't have any walls on it yet, you can see that some of that exterior sheeting comes inside of the house, particularly where the windows are located. And that's supposed to help prevent leaks coming in through the windows. And so you're supposed to be able to see some of that even after they install the windows. And there was one window where we couldn't see it, and so it was likely that it was there, but he wanted to point it out just in case so that the superintendent could take a look at it. And then again, most of our pre-drywall issues were, again, the sheeting on the outside and making sure that everything was properly covered so that we wouldn't have leaks in the future. Then we have some roof issues, or some roof items. It's important for me to share that all of these were minor concerns. There were no major findings, but again, minor items become major items in the future. And so one item was that there was a damaged truss where our build team needed to just add an additional piece of wood to make it a little bit more sturdy. We also had some missing joist hangers, and so he pointed those out, and those are essentially little flat pieces of metal that connects the wood together. I'm sure I'm explaining it incorrectly, but that's what it looks like anyway, and some of those were missing, and so he had identified those so that they could put those in. There was also a truss plate that was out of place and just needed to be re-secured, and so I pointed that out. We had some plumbing items where one of our pipes was where it needed to be, but it was sticking out just a little bit more for our inspector's comfort, and so he pointed that out in the report just so the superintendent could take a look at it. And then there was some nail guards that our inspector recommended be added, and nail guards are these metal plates that are installed where the electrical cords or plumbing might be going through the wall, and it's possible that if you were to screw something in that particular place, you could essentially hit the electrical cord. And so they put these nail guards in place so that if you do screw something in there, that metal plate will stop you from going through and getting to that cord. And so those are the items that we found in our pre-drywall home inspection. Again, they were all minor things that our superintendent was extremely happy to take a look at and to make sure that we were at peace of mind with the items. And then we had our post-drywall, or our final home inspection. And so this is after everything inside of the house is complete and everything should be working the way it is designed to work. So our inspector came back out and took a look at the house once we got to that stage. And so some of the items, starting with the exterior of the house, that he found was that we had some exterior doors where there was a gap in the door, and so you could clearly see daylight from the outside through the door gap. And so he pointed that out so that they could fix that. Also, we had some caulking and sealant that needed to be added to the pillars on our front porch. And so had that not been identified, it could be a place where water could get in or bugs could get in and make it their new home, and they start eating the wood on the inside. And so they had to add some sealant to those areas. We also had some damaged siding where there was a huge crack in one of our siding pieces, and so they were able to replace that. There were some gaps in other areas on the outside that needed some sealant, or needed some paint, or just needed to be installed correctly, needed to be moved over a little bit. And so he identified that. And these are things that a city or county inspector, they're not going to be looking for these things. They're looking to see if your house passed code. They're not looking to see if your house was built to a good quality. And so we're thankful that our inspector was able to find these items. We also had some bonding that was loose, and this was close to our electrical panel on the outside. And so clearly we don't want to have to deal with any electrical issues, and so that was a really great find. And then for plumbing, where our water shutoff valve is, that particular valve was not identified as to what it was shutting off. And so he put in the report to make sure that they added a label so that we knew what that particular valve did. When it comes to our windows and doors, we did have one window where our inspector thought there was some damage. We ended up finding out there wasn't any damage to that particular window. For whatever reason, when he was opening it, it wasn't opening correctly. But by the time we came back in the house, it was working pretty fine, so maybe they fixed it before we got here. All of our windows were also missing screens, and so he included that in the report. We had some damaged drywall in one of our closets. And so you'll notice once you're going through your final walkthrough, sometimes, or your orientation walkthrough, sometimes there are things that are damaged, there are corrections that need to be made, and still understand that your house is still in construction up until the day that you close. And so don't be super alarmed when you see these items. Know that they are working their hardest to get you closed as soon as possible. Our inspector had this neat little thermal scan tool that he used to help him identify any leaks in the house. And he did use that within our kitchen, and he found that there was some moisture detected in his thermal scan, but the area was dry. And so he continued to monitor that. He asked our superintendent to monitor that just to make sure there wasn't a leak in the area. There was one pipe that needed some sealant around it because it was open, and so we wanted to add that. And then in our bathroom, our master bathroom, we had a shower head that was leaking some water in the area where you screw the head on, and so called that out. He also included a video which helped us see that there was actual water coming out. And I think we shared this with you all once before, how we had a vent in our office area where the vent cover was there, but the hole had not been cut open for the vent. And so they still had drywall in that particular area, and they needed to come back and open that up. And then lastly, in the attic, there was a cut in the flooring there where they needed to add in some sealant, and they don't call that sealant, but they needed to add in something to seal the area, because any holes that you have throughout the house, they all need to be sealed so that your house is nice and tight and that your HVAC system can do its job to the best of its ability. And so those are the things that our inspector found during the pre-drywall inspection as well as the final inspection that any city or county inspector would not have located, and it could have cost us a lot of money and problems down the road. And so that $300 that we spent for each for both inspections was well spent money, and we highly encourage everyone to do the same thing.
Definitely. That $300 each was well worth it, and you definitely need a private inspector. So we hope that everything we shared about our 2 inspections kind of put your mind at ease as you're considering whether or not to hire an inspector. Now you know you definitely need one. And so we want to thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We love all of our subscribers out there and all of our viewers. Thank you all so much. Let us know in the comments what other topics you want us to cover about new construction, home ownership, and anything else under the sun that you think we should cover on our channel. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next video.
Peace.